WNBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
The following program is for mature and logical audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Play YMCA. Go ahead. Let's go. Nice and loud.
Abrego Garcia's wife has been very vocal about how she doesn't think he's getting due process, and she now also fears for her safety. Do you have a message to her specifically?
Well, I don't have a message to his wife. I mean, look, I just disagree with the idea that he hasn't been offered due process. He had a couple of immigration hearings. He had a valid deportation order. I think this idea that somehow that we couldn't deport an MS-13 gang member, and he was an MS-13 gang member, is preposterous. And I think there's actually a deeper issue going on, which is that you see some radical judges at the district court level who are trying to layer so much quote-unquote process on top of the immigration system that it makes it impossible to function. We have over 20 million illegal aliens in the United States of America. Are we not allowed to deport them? Because if we're not allowed to deport them, then what these district courts are saying is fundamentally they reject the will of the American people as it was expressed in November of 2024.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corsai. Not sure what was wrong with that audio with the pounding, but if you were able to hear, I don't know how it's possible that JD Vance always explains things better in 1 minute than I do in an hour. That was him talking about Kilmar Garcia. I don't know, but welcome. We have another show, jam-packed show today. Like you heard in the cold open, we have had even more revelations about Kilmar Garcia Parra, as we call him here on the show. Stronger ties now to human trafficking. We'll get into that later in the show. Also, former President Joe Biden, he posted another picture of himself on social media yesterday. And guess what? He's wearing the same clothes as Easter. Is it because of dementia? Or was he on one hell of a bender the last 72 hours or so? We'll get into that. And we're going to break down the new head of the WEF, Peter Brabeck-Letmith. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his name or not. Former CEO of Nestle. What are his plans for global domination? But first, a little announcement to start the show here. Today actually is Thinking Logically's 200th episode. So we've been here this is our 200th episode. Been doing this since early July of 2022. And this is officially our 200th episode covering the news. Ryan, a lot going on today, too. We got the NFL draft. Steelers going to be on the clock in a couple hours.
Yeah, we do. We have a pick. And you know what, Joe? We don't have a second round pick tomorrow. So it's going to go right from the first to the third. So you got to kind of hit a home run with this first pick.
Just on Friday, just look at a picture of DK Metcalf all day.
Yeah, that's true.
There you got your second round pick right there. Not a bad one.
Not a bad one.
Better than some of the ones we've had in the not so distant past. Okay, let's cover this show today. You all right with the camera there, Ryan? You got everything good? Ryan's having trouble with the camera, but we're going to get started here. So today, listen, audience, there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen. That's a quote we used a lot. It's by Vladimir Putin, but we used it quite a lot in this show. We're about to re-enter in this country and possibly planet Earth. We're about to re-enter a time where decades happen in a matter of weeks. How do I know? Because a pope has just passed away. And throughout history, when a pope passes away, it usually is, well, I guess we can call it a bad omen, can't we? Ryan, as you're fiddling with that camera, when you think of major historical events the last, we'll say 100 years, since 1900, because no one remembers the 1800s, what do you think the biggest ones are? Name some of the biggest ones.
The World Wars, World War I, World War II. Okay. Kennedy, of course, is a big one.
Yeah.
The moon landing. I mean, come on. 9/11.
Yeah.
The iPhone.
The iPhone. Okay.
Steelers drafting Big Ben.
Okay. All right. We're getting crazy now.
And COVID.
Okay. COVID. Okay. Steelers drafting Big Ben. That actually in Pittsburgh history, that's a big one. What if I told you, though, that every time a pope dies, there is usually a major global event or war that follows within like 10 months to a year? We're going to dive into that right now, actually. And we're going to start off with Pope Leo XIII. He was Pope from February 20th, 1878 until July 20th, 1903. Now, what happened in 1903 or shortly thereafter? Well, the Wright brothers they achieved the first sustained, controlled, powered flight of an aircraft heavier than air. Amazing. Flying happened for the first time in 1903. That's good, right? Also, the Russo-Japanese War broke out. Might not know that unless you're a history buff, but in that war, Japan was able to get its hands on Korea, something that has had a butterfly effect on the history of Korea and today, especially with their current leadership. But that's Pope Leo XIII. Again, died 1903. Nothing that crazy for the first one. I mean, how many people know about the Russo-Japanese War that happened? But remember, it was a critical war because it gave the Japanese experience in fighting modern naval warfare, and it would lead to their domination in the Pacific until World War II, which we'll get into later. Then there was Pius X, August 4th, 1903 to August 20th, 1914. Pope Pius, well, he didn't die until 1914 technically, but he had a very severe, massive heart attack late in 1913 and basically lived in the shadows of the Vatican until he died months later. So Pope Pius, though, became gravely ill on the day of the Feast of the Assumption of Mary. Then, what happened? The outbreak of World War I on July 28th happened, and that reportedly sent the 79-year-old Pope into a state of melancholy and depression. He died 3 weeks later on August 20th. Then we had World War I. We had everything that happened after that, and it led up into that. Again, nothing that crazy so far. But what about Benedict XV? He was Pope from 1914 until January 22nd, 1922. Well, what happened in 1922, months later? On December 30th, 1922, the USSR was officially established, uniting several republics into a single communist state. Anything else? Think. Benito Mussolini. His National Fascist Party seized control of the Italian government, leading to the establishment of a fascist regime. Then we had the Irish Free State proclaimed, where they separated from the British Empire. We had the Irish Civil War. We had the German economic crisis. Remember the Weimar Republic, the inflation, hyperinflation, where Germany faced that major economic crisis. King Tut, his tomb was discovered in 1922. It's just a little bit, throw it in there, creepy. After that, we had Pope Pius XI, and he was Pope from February 6th, 1922 to February 10th, 1939. February 10th, 1939, audience. Think of it. Can you know? You know what it could be? World War II. Hello. Remember the little guy with the mustache would drive around in a Mercedes and yell things? So that was World War II. Again, Pope Pius XI died February 10th, 1939. World War II broke out September 1st, maybe, 1939 when Hitler went into Poland. What about Pius XII, his successor? How'd he fare? Because he was Pope from March 2nd, 1939 until October 9th, 1958. So what happened in 1958, 1959, since that was the end of 58? Well, in 1959, there was a lot of political and cultural shifts. First, Fidel Castro seized power in Cuba, and that led to the rise of the Cuban Revolution and the butterfly effect of the Cuban Missile Crisis, yada, 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 going on down there. Still an issue today. The Soviet Union also made groundbreaking advancements in space exploration, including the launch of the first spacecraft to escape Earth's gravity and impact the moon. And that led to a serious escalation in the Cold War. Oddly enough, the Soviet Union also was able to sew two heads onto one dog. They did that. They were experimenting and stuff like that. Rather interesting. So after Pope Pius XII, there was Pope John the 23rd. He was Pope from October 28th, 1958 to June 3rd, 1963. Audience, can anyone think of what happened in 1963? It's kind of a big event here in American history. Kennedy was assassinated. Ryan, you were about to say it, but I'm sorry I beat you to it.
Oh, you're good.
That was awesome. We took a fork in the road. It led us to war in Vietnam instead of not getting involved, which is what Kennedy wanted. Where are we at now? We're in the 70s, guys. There was that time in the 70s where two popes died within a few weeks of each other. Back in 78, actually. There was Pope Paul VI. He was Pope from June 21st, 1963 till August 6th, 1978. And then Pope John Paul I took over for him. And he was Pope from August 26th till September 28th, 1978. What happened then? We had the Iranian Revolution, led by the Ayatollah, that overthrew the Shah of Iran. What else? That the present-day Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran. Again, the Shah of Iran getting tossed out, a.k.a. Phil Leotardo, was the resulted in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Then we had the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. So that ignited the Soviet-Afghan War, again, impacting the Cold War. And we also had the 3 Mile Island nuclear disaster, which wasn't deadly, but stopped nuclear energy from becoming, in my opinion, the dominant form of energy in this country. Do you know what else happened after 2 popes died? Audience, can you guess? The Steelers won their 3rd and 4th Super Bowl. What does that say for this year? What does that say for this year, Ryan? Just saying. Okay, let's cut here we go. Okay, so that led us to Pope John Paul II. Everyone remembers him. He was Pope from 1978 until April 2nd, 2005. What happened after John Paul II died? Well, we had Hurricane Katrina. We had the trial of Saddam Hussein and the fall of Iraq, leading to what the Middle East is today, basically. The London terrorist bombings, I actually looked that up. I forgot about that. That was a big event that year. This will get you. The launch of YouTube happened in 2005. A new way. I mean, how do you get your media now? Is it through the news, or is it social media or places like YouTube? We had the assassination of Rafik Hariri. He was the prime minister of Lebanon, and that had to do with the Syria situation that we see today, butterfly effects from that. Ryan, anything else happened in 2005? The Steelers won another Super Bowl. Popes died and the Steelers won the Super Bowl.
What a year.
Oh, wow.
We got YouTube. We got the Steelers Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was better than the Iranian Revolution.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just thinking about this now. Maybe you could even say Sidney Crosby got drafted by the Penguins, but
yes.
I'm not sure. The date's probably pretty close after he died. I don't remember Pope John Paul II and Crosby being together in the same.
Never seen them in the same place at the same time.
All right, then we got the German Pope. Remember the Nazi Pope, Pope Benedict XVI? April 19th, 2005 to February 18th, 2013. What happened shortly after that? Well, we saw war in Ukraine started. The original war in Ukraine with Russia and Ukraine. That began in early 2014. We had the Boston Marathon bombings, though, that happened a few months after Benedict was... Well, actually, remember this. We don't even know if Benedict counts because he didn't die. He just resigned. So should we count the current year that he died, or the year that he resigned, or the year that he died, which I believe was 2 years ago? I don't know. I don't know what we should count. Regardless, that brings us to Pope Francis. So, is there going to be a war breaking out soon? Is there going to be an assassination? I mean, you have to wonder, how can things get any crazier than they are right now? I don't know, but I feel something is coming down the pike, and I get this feeling. Is it going to be a war? Is it going to be assassination? I don't know, but history has this tendency to repeat itself. And here we are, another pope has passed away. Just saying. So if it is war, though, where is war most likely to break out? You think Ukraine and Russia, right? Not if Trump has a say. And this is from the account Clandestine on X. He writes this. Trump gives an update on the Russia-Ukraine peace negotiations. He believes Russia is ready and they have a deal. Now, they just have to get Zelensky to agree. He confirms that Putin has been easier to deal with Zelensky. In other words, he says, Zelensky is dragging his feet because he does not want to lose power. Zelensky is continuing to delay the end of this war because once the war is over, Zelensky is a dead man and he knows it. And I have to agree with that. Remember, they're not holding elections in Ukraine. Zelensky does not want to talk peace at all. This is from A Muse on X. He's talking about what Trump tweeted out and posted on True Social, talking about Volodymyr Zelensky not wanting peace. And he says, every time the Trump administration suggests that Ukraine and Russia are getting close to agreeing to a ceasefire and commencement of peace negotiation, Zelensky goes public with a statement that effectively scuttles any chance of a ceasefire. Trump is mad. What is next here? Bring him on. Who is it? Don, welcome aboard.
Hey, I know exactly what's going to happen, and there's no stopping it. Have you ever rolled a rock down a hill as a little kid?
Yeah.
Well, there's no stopping the rock once it gets to a certain point, right?
That's correct. Are we already halfway down the hill? Where are we? Are we still at the crest of the hill?
It's over. The 2028 election, the Democrats are swept back into power because what was the one thing that worked for the Democrats? And a little tidbit. Wasn't Lincoln the first Republican president?
He was the first Republican president, yes.
So is it fair to say, and I love the South and I love the SEC, isn't it fair to say that the Republicans defeated the Democrats in the Civil War?
Well, if you think about it, he was from a border state, Lincoln. He was Kentucky.
Right, and it was brother against brother,
Yeah.
and that's even more proof. Some Southerners came north and fought. I don't know how many. But the Republicans defeated the Democrats in the Civil War. But I digress. What was the one play that worked for the Democrats? Call Trump a Nazi, release a virus, and then run a ticket with a crazy old man at the top of the ticket that, like a baseball pitcher that might have one more good game left in him, and put a mindless, power-hungry, middle-aged female on the bottom of the ticket, Bernie Sanders and AOC.
I would love to see it. Now, I got to ask you, Don, if there is another Civil War, it can't be North and South or East or West. Do you think it'll be IQs? IQs above 80, IQs below 80?
Oh, dear Lord, get me going on that one. Who's smarter? Because I picked up the Ohio newspaper today. I think her name's Jamie Stiam, and she said, Donald Trump never cracks a book. Well, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But the guy that fixed your transmission might only read the Chilton's manual, and some of them don't even need that. The Democrats always pretend they're intelligent. Have you ever noticed the prettiest girl in the school doesn't act pretty? The smartest kid doesn't brag about how smart he is? Mm-hmm. They are nothing but a bunch of low-information voters. But another thing, how is it that people that have been conservative their whole life, when they get to the nursing home and they're 98, they know they want to vote for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris?
Isn't it amazing? And it's at like a 98% to 2%. Isn't it amazing?
By the way, it's impossible, and you know that,
Yes,
right?
Yeah, I know it's impossible.
It can't be done. But the Republicans, and they have to do it this way, they're too busy trying to fix up the Democrats' mess that they really don't have time to go after these people. And if we have to work hard for this one, they should make a Hallmark movie about this guy. This Maryland man that was kidnapped by Nazi goons set loose by a former New Jersey real estate developer. This is pathetic. You know, the little old ladies would love that Hallmark movie, wouldn't they?
Let me ask you a question, because do you remember, you have a good memory, do you remember a few months ago when Pete Hegseth was going through the rounds to be Secretary of Defense, that the big thing was his tattoos, and they wanted to talk about his tattoos, the Iron Cross, the Nazi Iron Cross, that was a Knights Templar. But now we can't talk about tattoos. It's amazing. Now that it's an MS-13 gang member.
No, there's, have you ever been to the dog races at Wheeling Island?
Yes, I have.
Okay, they muzzle the Greyhounds. If it were up to me, I would muzzle all the Democrats. I don't want to hear another word from them, do you?
Well, we might lose if we muzzle. The more they talk, the more they bury themselves. That's the thing.
Oh, no, that's right, Napoleon. He didn't make a move one time, and one of his subordinates said, what are we waiting for? And he said, never interfere with an enemy that is destroying itself.
It's taken a long time for them to completely destroy themselves, because I feel like this has been going on since 2000. Definitely 17 or 18 after Trump took power. I mean, the media has completely lost credibility.
I've got a trivia question for you. After Sanders and AOC enter the White House, Obama's still going to be running the show, right?
Oh, absolutely. If it's not Obama, then it's whoever's giving Obama his marching orders, believe me.
Exactly.
They're not in control.
You
take care too, Don. No. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Take care.
But Don's right. Trump, whether you can argue, he's running the show. He has people that give him input, but he has final say. I don't care. You can't make the. Don't tell me Joe Biden. Don't tell me Kamala Harris would have final say at all for anything. Give me a break.
But you know what? A lot of the results, might say that Joe Biden might have made the call for, sitting on his hands when the border came across by, millions of people. it kind of adds up. I mean, as pathetic as that sounds, that could very well have been his intention and his idea, you know?
Oh, I can't wait to get into Joe Biden in the third segment. And the Maryland man next segment, I believe. What else we want to talk about? I have this here. Who is this from? It's pointless to play because it's all in Russian and Ukrainian, but it is a post from David Sachs on X. And he says, that time NBC News interviewed people on the streets of Crimea, and every one of them wanted to be part of Russia. Why does Ukraine continue to oppose democracy for Crimea? And again, look it up. Watch the interviews yourself. Okay, let's get back to the popes here. Because for some reason, I got a new phone. I was looking through screenshots of saved I had from June of 2022. I'll read it. This screenshot is from Newsweek, June 2022. Next pope to be Asian or black. How'd they know that? And now that's the rumors are swirling right now that the next pope, are they not, will be black. So I've been thinking about a black pope, but audience, what if I told you there's technically been a black pope? Remember Pope Francis, the one that just passed? Well, Pope Francis, he was the first pope that was a Jesuit. Who are the Jesuits, you might ask? That's a long story in itself. But according to various conspiracy, the black pope is the leader of the Jesuits. The Black Pope, he's nicknamed the Superior General of the Society of Jesus. He's not called the Black Pope officially. And he is the leader of that Catholic religious order. The nickname that he's given, the Black Pope, is often used to emphasize the Jesuits' influence and power, sometimes in contrast to the Pope, who is often referred to as the White Pope due to his vestments. And like the Pope, the Superior General wields significant influence, particularly over the Jesuit order, which is one of the largest male religious orders in the Catholic Church. Again, that's the father of the Society of Jesus, aka the Black Pope, their leader. I'm getting into popes. There's also the Gray Pope, which I don't know if you ever heard, like conspiracy theories. What's the not the Da Vinci Code? American Horror Story had the black. Remember the Black Pope at the end of the one American Horror Story?
Yes.
I'm the Black Pope.
Yes.
Supposedly, according to conspiracy, there's also a Gray Pope. The Gray Pope, no historical evidence that a Gray Pope exists or has that ever existed. But the Gray Pope is supposedly like, picture the White Pope as Joe Biden, and the Gray Pope is the one behind the scenes calling all the shots and pulling the strings.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's Herb Pope, Aliquippa basketball player.
He was a good one.
I think we should take a break on that note. Covering all the popes here, including Herb. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to cover Joe Biden's Easter outfit that actually was... He hasn't taken off in 4 days. Stay tuned, listen to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Brighton is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearm store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
Hey everyone, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about one of my favorite places to eat, Bowser's Restaurant in Monaca. I'm a big fan of their 2-meat plate. Sometimes I get it with the pulled pork, and sometimes I get it with ribs, but I always get it with their amazing brisket. Don't forget to try all their smokehouse sides as well. Takeout and catering available too. Again, that's Bowser's Restaurant at 1493 Old Broadhead Road in Monaca.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here at 99.3 FM WBVP. First segment we were talking about what happens when popes die. Sounds like a Prince song for some reason. This is what it sounds like when the popes die.
It does, actually.
Also, Russia, Ukraine, how that shouldn't be where war breaks out. The gray pope, the black pope, her pope. We were talking about all the popes. Now we're going to get to Joe Biden, someone who is Catholic and is of ripe age to be a pope. But he posted a picture on X. And Ryan, did you see it? I sent it to you. When you get a chance, hold it up for our audience. He hasn't changed his clothes since Easter. So he posted a picture on X wearing the same exact suit and tie as his Easter picture. And he's walking in some national park aimlessly. I don't know. Show the picture. Audience, if you can, focus on his legs. Either he skipped leg day too many times, or he's wearing a flak jacket under his suit. And that's why his legs look like I don't know. But who's the guy that wrote the book writes all the books? Oh, Jake Tapper, the man that wrote the book on Joe Biden's mental decline the last 4 years. Can we get him to comment on whether or not this is Photoshop, please? You got to see the picture, audience. Go look it up right now if you're listening on your radio. Joe Biden walking through a national park. He has the same. I'm looking at it right. He has the same body type as the Steve Carell from the Minions movie. Does he not? He's very chesty.
Yes. In that picture, he sure does look chesty.
Ryan, do you own any old school WWF action figures?
I used to have many.
That's what he looks like with the
Yes,
average size
right.
legs and where the hell is he even walking to?
Right.
I mean, hopefully there's someone. I don't know. Why are they putting these? There's no reason to put these pictures out. Do you want people to ask, are these photoshopped? And are they photoshopped? And if they are, what does that mean for the last 4 years? Amazing how it comes out now.
We've certainly seen him more in these pictures than we did for 4 years.
Right?
When he was in office, you never see the guy.
They must have fired whoever was doing the Photoshop before, because this is awful. I could
It's
do better.
bad.
I could do better than this. And that's going to bring us to our next, the brutal audio of Senator Elizabeth Warren. She was on someone's podcast. I don't know who it was, but they made her look like a fool when they asked her about Biden's mental capacity. Ryan, play that clip of Elizabeth Warren whenever you get a chance.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Look, it is, the question is, what are we going to do now?
I mean, that was like pulling teeth.
Yeah, that was rough.
She just couldn't. I saw him standing up. Did you? Congratulations. I saw the President of the United States was able to stand up, and I was able to take his pulse.
Right.
And there was a faint heartbeat that I felt. Very weak. Wasn't vigorous, that's for sure. I don't know. Let's just move on. Enough with this Biden and Elizabeth Warren. We've known this for half a decade. Let's move on to the new WEF head. Did you see this guy, Ryan? The new head of the WEF, what he looks like?
I did not, no.
Google a picture of him just whenever you get a chance. So the new head of the WEF, he looks like a super creepy megachurch pastor. His name's Peter Brabeck Lamantha something. I don't know. You got to see this guy, though. He looks like he drinks blood to quench his thirst. I'm not joking around. He has one jet black eye. It's a super creepy eye. It looks like it just randomly bleeds at times. I don't know. I think it does just randomly bleed. It's creepy. I can't believe I'm saying this, but bring back Klaus Schwab. Bring him back. But this new guy, he was the former CEO of Nestle or something, I don't know. But remember, Klaus Schwab, he was famous for saying that he wants everyone to, quote, eat the bugs. Well, this new guy, I can't remember his exact quote, but he doesn't believe people have any natural right to water. Amazing. Why do all these people that head the WF, number one, why do they act like Bond villains, and why do they look like Bond villains? I'm serious. This dude is right out of Central Casting as a Bond villain. And what's crazy, remember how he said he doesn't want anyone to have any water? That's actually the plot from a James Bond movie, The Quantum of Solace. It's one of the worst ones, but the water will be the new oil. They're going to control the water, and water will be the new oil. James Bond, The Quantum of Solace. And now that's the new CEO of the WEF, the World Economic Forum. Again, this is the World Economic Forum. They don't want anyone drinking water. I don't know. Just Bond villains. Like it's crazy. Ryan, there's been a few Bond films that were actually quite a bit actually ahead of the curve. A View to Kill, remember that one?
You know what? I never really got into the Bond movies.
A View to Kill was about destroying Silicon Valley.
Oh, really?
And now look at today. Then there was Octopussy, and that was the one that predicted the woman having 8 babies.
Yeah,
remember the Octomom?
Right.
Okay, I think we should just reset and maybe take a break, go to commercial, come back, we'll talk about Kilmar Garcia Parra. What do you think? Good? Sound like a plan? All right, stay tuned, listen to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. Hey everyone, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about one of my favorite places to eat, Bowser's Restaurant in Monaca. I'm a big fan of their 2-meat plate. Sometimes I get it with the pulled pork, and sometimes I get it with ribs, but I always get it with their amazing brisket. Don't forget to try all their smokehouse sides as well. Takeout and catering available too. Again, that's Bowser's Restaurant at 1493 Old Broadhead Road in Monaca.
Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Brighton is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearms store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP, brought to you by So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing. Remember, whether you need your house washed, driveway clean, patio done, fences, gutters, you name it, call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing at 724-252-4489. That's 724-252-4489. They're fully insured, and they offer free estimates. So what are you waiting for? Don't be the outcast in your neighborhood with a dirty Decker house. Call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing today. Okay, last time we were talking about another Photoshop picture of Joe Biden where his legs look like WWF action figures. I don't even know how else to describe.
Like doodles.
Yeah, doodles. Yeah.
Doodles, yeah.
And the memes are coming out on Twitter or X and other places, I should say now. The new head of the World Economic Forum, we talked about him, how he looks like a Bond villain. Super creepy, bleeding eye. Very strange. Now we're going to get into Kilmar Garcia Parra. And before that, I just want to mention, it's rumored that Pete Hegseth is supposedly on the chopping block for this whole Signalgate thing. I don't know how much it's true. White House came out earlier last week and said it was fake news. But again, I said this earlier in the show. A few months ago, we were so worried about Pete Hegseth's tattoos. Remember the German Iron Cross that wasn't a German Iron Cross? Now we have an MS-13 gang member with MS-13 tattoos on his fingers. And no one cares about the tattoos. In fact, you're not allowed to look at the tattoos. Their argument for Kilmar has been this. How can you tell if someone is in or is connected to a gang simply by their tattoos? But when Pete Hegseth was a subject of tattoos, however, the media couldn't stop speculating if he was an actual Nazi. Remember it was a Nazi cross tattoo they were telling everyone. Well, we reported that on this show. We didn't hide from the fact that Pete had a cross on his chest. We didn't cover it with heart emojis. All we did was identify the tattoo as not being a Nazi tattoo. It was the tattoo of the Templar Cross. And you know what? We were correct with that. Take that compared to what the media is doing and the Democrats. They're giving covering fire to a guy with gang tattoos. Not just any gang, MS-13, which is a terrorist organization. I mean, come on. His wife was covering them up with heart emojis, guys. He's an illegal. Here illegally. He beat his wife. Why are we defending him? Why do we not care about American women being raped and murdered? Are the Democrats no longer the party of women? When did that happen? Libs of TikTok, they posted this on X, and they said, an illegal was charged with murder after a woman's body was found in the woods in Maryland. Another body in the woods in Maryland? Maryland Senator Chris Von Hollen was in El Salvador just a few days ago campaigning for the release of an MS-13 gang member while illegals are murdering people in the state. Does he care about the people in his state? I don't know if that's another one or the one we covered a few weeks ago, but if another Maryland woman's body has been found in the woods and it's an illegal alien, will any news agency pick it up, for God's sake? But back to Kilmar Garcia Parra. This is from Kaneko the Great on X. This is a bombshell. He writes this. Kilmar Abreu Garcia, a reported MS-13 gang member accused by his wife of domestic violence, is now directly tied to a convicted human trafficker. Here's the full story. In 2022, Tennessee police pulled Garcia over for speeding. They discovered he was driving without a valid license and transporting 8 illegal immigrants. Remember, we covered this like 2 episodes ago. None of these people apparently, though, had luggage or a verifiable home address from Texas to Maryland. So Kaneko also goes on to explain the SUV carrying Garcia, or the SUV Garcia was driving, belonged to Jose Ramon Hernandez Reyes. Who's he? He's an illegal immigrant from El Salvador also, but he was previously sentenced to 18 months in federal prison for human trafficking. Wow. What are the odds? So Garcia sports MS-13 tattoos on his knuckles. His wife filed a TRO against him for domestic abuse. He was previously arrested alongside known MS-13 gang members wearing gang attire and carrying marijuana and cash. $1,178, remember? Now he's tied directly to Reyes, a convicted human trafficker. And he says, how many coincidences can one person have before it becomes undeniable? Kilmar Abreu Garcia is clearly the new frontrunner to lead the DNC. Again, this guy was pulled over in Tennessee in 2022 carrying 8 passengers with no luggage. I don't know what kind of vehicle he could have been in that carries 8 passengers, unless it was a Ford Transit. He didn't have a valid driver's license. He was coming from Houston, Texas. That's like a known hotbed of human trafficking. He told police that the car was his boss's car. A man, we just said, Jose Hernandez Reyes. Again, this guy was an illegal migrant who was sentenced to prison for smuggling human beings in 2020. This was 2 years before this. All 8 passengers claimed that Kilmar Garcia's address, that was also their address. And the FBI, after all that, the FBI told the Tennessee Highway Patrol to release this man. We need to know why. I'm serious. If Trump can't deport anyone without a judge approving, keep in mind, he ran his campaign on doing this and won the popular vote. But if Trump can't deport anyone without a judge saying yes, then what can he do? This is also from Libs of TikTok. Fox just dropped a pretty insane story that should be getting more views. The FBI found that Venezuelan government officials likely facilitated the migration of Tren de Aragua gang members from Venezuela to the United States to advance the Maduro regime's objective of undermining public safety in the U.S. The FBI believes the Venezuelan government will likely attempt to leverage Tren de Aragua members in the United States as proxy actors to threaten and kill members of the Venezuelan diaspora in the United States who are vocal critics of Maduro and his regime. Interesting. So they're coming here to kill legal immigrants from Venezuela, maybe. I don't know. Biden allowed this to happen. He opened up our border for these violent gang members to invade us. This is treason. That's from Libs of TikTok. Again, I just don't know how they get away with it. Don't know. Also from Eric Doherty, Judge blocks part of Trump's executive order requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration nationwide. If that's the case, then 2028 is still in play for the Democrats, even with Bernie and AOC. So what are we going to do? What's the plan? We can't, judges keep on checking us everywhere we go. Is there any historical precedent? I am an amateur historian, and I remember the time Abraham Lincoln, what did he do? He invoked the Insurrection Act during the Civil War. What did the Supreme Court say? What did they do? They overruled him. They ruled that suspending habeas corpus was unconstitutional. So what did Lincoln do in response? He ignored the court. We talked about this a few episodes ago. Lincoln ignored the court. Trump, I can't believe I'm saying this. Trump should ignore the Supreme Court if they continue to hamstring him. And these district courts too. All right, what else do we have here, Ryan? 1492. Tacos and tequila.
I seen this, yeah.
Yeah, they were raided by ICE and I don't know what else. And you know what my first thought was? I thought the only thing criminal there was how good their carnitas were.
I've heard many great things about the place.
It's good food.
I've personally never had it yet, but everybody I've ever heard talk about it says it's really good.
It is good food. But here's what bothers me. Now, the Beaver County Democrats, they posted it on Facebook. They're up in arms over this. They're not happy by any means. But again, Trump and his administration, they said they're only going to go after dangerous illegals, people selling drugs, people human trafficking. And that's what we've been seeing for the most part. So I'm going to give this a couple of days to see what comes out. See what comes out about this man, if anything. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. But if we find out this is actually a drug dealer or this is actually, a human trafficker, I'm not saying it is. Who wouldn't be fine with this? I love tacos and tequila. I love 1942 tacos and tequila, but no, would you want that guy waiting on your table? No. It's one thing for an American criminal to be waiting at your table, but for someone from a different country that's also a criminal to be waiting on you and your family, just a bit much for me. All right, let's talk about autism, right?
Yeah, that's a big topic lately.
Actually, let's talk about, since we're talking about 1942, and let's talk about Berry Berry. Do you know what Berry Berry is? No. I only know what Berry Berry is because I love war history, and a lot of American POWs, especially in the Pacific, suffered from beriberi. So what beriberi is, it's an illness that affects the nervous system. And most of the time, sometimes it's actually the cardiovascular system, really two different types actually. Except actually, it's not even an illness. It's a vitamin deficiency. Not getting enough B1 vitamin causes, or could cause, you to get beriberi. And from what I understand, it's not fun. Ryan, have you heard of anemia?
Of course.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know what anemia is, it's a condition where you don't have enough healthy red blood cells, or you're not producing enough healthy red blood cells. What causes that? What's the solution? I'll get that. Sometimes a solution for anemia is something as simple as adding iron, B12, or folate to your diet. That can reverse anemia in some cases. Ryan, have you ever heard of scurvy?
I've heard that, yes.
So anyone out there know what scurvy is? You probably remember British sailors sailing on the high seas, they'd all get scurvy. You get scurvy through lack of vitamin C. It's just a deficiency of vitamin C. That's all it is. When you're deficient in it, your body starts to break down in certain ways. It's called scurvy. Early symptoms are weakness, fatigue, sore arms and legs. Kind of feels like you have the flu a little bit. You might think you have the flu, but you actually have scurvy. Most sailors got scurvy because they had very little access to fresh fruits and vegetables while sailing on the high seas for months at a time. Makes sense. So, and for the longest time, everyone in the world, the best doctors of the 1700s, they just assumed that scurvy was a communicable disease, that it spread like any other disease, like the flu, like the common cold. They didn't realize at the time it was only a deficiency in something. Then I guess some genius discovered, hey, if you put vitamin C and stuff, scurvy goes away. Now imagine if this problem had happened today. Imagine, we have the same minds today. Scurvy, whatever you want to call it, beriberi, rickets, anything. What would we have instead of just someone? We'd have a vaccine with aluminum and heavy metals, part of it vitamin C, that every person would have to take for every few months. And you could just eat fresh fruits and oranges and lemons. Hell, you could squeeze a lime in a mixed drink of alcohol and it would stop the disease. Literally, it would. That's where the word grog comes from. Pirates drank grog to eliminate scurvy. It's just some lime squeezed in with some alcohol. We have a caller? Bill. New caller.
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to ask, do you think that Rachel Madcow, if she loses her job, that she would run for any kind of political office?
That's a good point, but I think no, because if I don't watch MSNBC anymore. I used to watch it more than Fox News because I like to watch like my enemies, if that makes sense. She doesn't even want to be on MSNBC, I don't think. I think I think she realizes that she looks like an idiot. That's just my opinion, but she doesn't even want to be on her own show like anymore, it feels like. Do you not she had someone else guest hosting for her like 3 days a week. Do you not remember that?
I never watched the show. I can't stand it. I can't stand
it. It's pretty bad.
She's really unlikable, isn't she?
And she used to be a good looking chick. See what liberalism does to you?
Yeah. Now she's a good. Yeah.
Now she's an average looking dude.
I was going that way. Yes.
But Bill, I honestly no. I don't think so because she's used to reading a script. It's very hard to be a politician and speak off the cuff. A lot of people in the media are better than but she's not. She can't do it now. She. I don't think so. But usually it's the other way. You usually work in government and then you go over to MSNBC, not MSNBC into government. You know what I I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think Rachel Madcow's a good name for her.
It is. It's a great name for her.
Okay. God bless you.
God bless you too. Have a great day.
Thank you.
But yeah, we were talking about grog, how pirates would just drink lime juice and alcohol that would solve scurvy. Today it would be in a pill form. You would ingest 2 to 3 times a day, made your stomach bleed, bowels bleed, give you ulcers. That's what we'd be at today. Real quick, just to wrap up the audience. Imagine if everyone today, if they treated scurvy or all these like autism and they just didn't want to find out what caused scurvy. The consensus today is that no one has any idea what causes autism. They just know that it's not vaccines. I'm not sure that even makes logical sense, but if you don't know, then you don't know. You can't say you have no idea what causes autism, but it's definitely not this. Imagine if the media treated scurvy today like they are treating autism. What would you see on TV? CNN reports people with scurvy work hard and pay taxes, but are being targeted by RFK Jr. It's hilarious to me. We got one more caller. We'll take one more caller and we got to take a break.
Okay, hold on 1 second, Howie. It's right there.
Send him over. Howie.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I talk to Frank almost every day, and this is the first time I heard your program, so I'll be listening every day.
Oh, thank you very much. Hope you like it.
Yeah.
Did we get anything wrong about Kilmar Garcia Parra? Did we get anything wrong about that Maryland father?
Oh, you know what? This is so ridiculous. He has no idea. He shouldn't be in this country in the beginning. And for what he did, they should put him in jail.
You're absolutely right. Just make sure it's an El Salvadorian jail. And people are talking about due process. If you're an illegal immigrant here, the executive branch handles those courts. It's not the judicial branch. So it's literally the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio and Trump, can decide on any person here that's not a citizen. You could be on a visa. They can say going, gone, and throw you out. Will there be backlash? Yes, but they can do it. They have the legal right to do it.
It's crazy to me, guys.
You know what?
It's crazy to me how the Democrats fight everything.
They do. Good, sir.
For Biden opening that border up, he should have been put in jail.
There's still time. I mean, I feel like he kind of was in jail in the White House. I don't think he really wanted to be there. I think they held him. I think he was basically a prisoner in the White House.
Hey, I'll talk to you again. You have a great show.
And if you ever want, we have all these shows that are on their Facebook and YouTube pages. We have a Rumble page, Thinking Logically Podcast. Check it out. We got tons of old episodes you probably like. If you're ever bored, check them out, man.
I don't have a computer.
Okay.
Hey, give us a call 2 times.
Give us a call 2 times a week, then.
Monday and Thursday every week.
I'm 85 years old. I don't want a computer.
There you go.
I understand that. Well, thank you so much.
Have a good day, guys.
You too.
Thank you, Howie.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple of 3 things. Nancy Mace, a gay guy that tried to attack her, in the NFL draft. Stay tuned. Listen to Think Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
Excitement is surrounding the Pittsburgh Pirates after Paul Skeens' rookie season last year.
Paul Skeens is for real. 102 on his final pitch of the day. 8 strikeouts for Skeens.
Adding Kutch.
The pitch. High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Go! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Andrew McCutcheon has won it. They're going crazy. The Pirates have won this game. And an incredible game. You can raise the Jolly Roger and call it maybe the best all time in Pittsburgh. What a game!
And you won't want to be anywhere else besides listening to Pirates Baseball on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. The Young Bucks are poised and ready to make a run at greatness, and Beaver County Radio is your place to tune in and listen all season long. Pirates Baseball on Beaver County Radio is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcones Moon Township Ford, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, Patriot Home Care, and Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. We're talking about the commercial. Gar, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Too bad the relief pitchers all are suffering from scurvy. Okay, let's wrap up this episode real quick and talk about the draft. First, Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina. This is last weekend. She filmed this video herself. She was standing in a makeup store, and there was this very fierce, we'll call him fierce, this fierce gay guy dressed up in Daisy Dukes who was in the aisle basically screaming at her. And apparently he must have not liked her because of a town hall, maybe just because he's a Democrat, I don't know. And he began screaming at her. And he was screaming at her while he was holding makeup in his hands. I mean, he's in a makeup store. I guess what the hell else is he going to hold in his hands besides makeup? So I'll give him a pass for that. Anyway, what was I getting at? He starts crying to her, and his eyeliner's running, and all of a sudden she just goes, "You know, I supported gay marriage." And the guy just loses his mouth and loses his mind and says, "What does that have to do with me?" Dude, everything. Play the audio clip, actually.
And by the way, I voted for gay marriage twice. So I'm just saying, it has everything to do with you.
You think everything about me has to do with gay marriage?
I do, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. If you want to get in my face about town halls, you should have shown up to one last year.
Thing you can talk about me just saying, "Oh, I support gay marriage."
Yeah, because you're getting in my face about a town hall. You could have gone last year. Would you like me?
If you have any plans to have more town halls this year?
I have town halls every year. I have over a dozen every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to go to this.
Dude can't wear Daisy Dukes in a makeup store as a dude and then say, what does gay marriage have to do with me? We're dumb. Let's talk football. Let's talk something real quick note. This came up across my desk just now. Trump is now officially selling Trump 2028 hats. This is the first sign that he's going to run for a third term. We called it. We said it could happen. All right. Let's talk about the draft for a second. I just want to, Ryan, I told you to look up the picture of Justin Blackmon. He was a top 5 pick for the Jaguars about like 10 years ago. He was in the news this week with a mugshot, which is, it's never good. And Ryan, his face weighs 250 pounds. I feel, talk about a fall from grace.
Did you say Justin Blackmon?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll pull it up.
I mean, his arrest video, he looks like he weighs 250 pounds strictly in his face. So drafts today, I always remind myself of just some of the sadder stories from the draft. And Justin Blackmon is one of them because he had it all and he let alcohol just destroy his life. So hopefully the Steelers don't draft someone like that. I don't know. But did you look at the picture?
Yeah, I'm looking at him now.
Yeah, sad. He's pretty puffy cheeks. That's Justin Blackman, 6'4", 200 some pounds. He could catch anything. Wow. All right, let's talk draft. What pick do the Steelers have?
They have number 21 overall.
21, okay.
Yes.
Don't tell me they can't take Shedeur Sanders.
You know what? That's been a lot of speculation lately, but I gotta actually see Shedeur drop to 21 to believe it. A lot of times, that when drafts are upcoming, teams start to try to use smoke screens. They try to trick other teams because they have their eye on somebody, and they don't want other teams to think. Listen, there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes with the draft, and I don't think that I don't think Shedeur Sanders will be there at 21. He was falling between 1 and 3 till about 2 weeks ago, and now all these rumors are coming out. He's this, he's that. If you recall the kid that came out of Ohio State a couple years ago, he plays for Houston now. They went on about how he's dumb as a rock. You don't want this guy. He ended out his rookie season was amazing. He led the Texans to the playoffs, and also with the win, I believe, in the playoffs that year. So
C.J. Stroud,
yes, and so this time you're going to start hearing weird things about these players. People right now are saying that Shedeur's and all that smart. They're saying that where was all this 2 weeks ago?
You're right.
So
do you think he has the arm strength? Because C.J. Stroud had arm strength like I couldn't believe. I don't think Shedeur Sanders has the arm strength to do it. He could be a successful NFL quarterback. He could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but I think he has to be in the right system.
Absolutely.
I think he has to be in the right system.
Absolutely. I wouldn't build my team around Shedeur Sanders if I'm looking for a quarterback to build my team around. He's good. He's really talented. He's probably going to do amazing things, at times in the NFL. But like you'd said, I mean, to be a starting quarterback, there's literally about 5 of these elite quarterbacks on the planet. I don't know why.
And you don't just come in being an elite quarterback. You have to study the system.
Right.
You have to. It's like learning a new language. Everything.
Right.
It's a big step up. Every player on that NFL field is better than the player you played against in college.
Absolutely. And one other point to make is, the guy did play for his dad. I mean, he had 2 average seasons at best. I mean,
they went 13 and 12, and they retired his number.
And they retired his number. To me, that says what's going on here.
If I get 100 views on this show, am I going to have my plaque out here on the legends in the Beaver County radio halls?
And there's been amazing players that came out of the University of Colorado that never had the chance to get their numbers retired. Cordell Stewart, for an example. I mean, there's a bunch of them. But the fact that Daddy is now coach and now they're retiring his number, that speaks volumes. So do you want to get into that? Do you want to get into all the baggage that comes along with drafting Deion Sanders' son? I don't know if you do. I think we're going to be okay because I don't think he'll be around at 21.
I see him going to the Saints, but the Saints haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round since Arch Manning. I saw that stat, and I was like, wow, they were the only NFL team that hasn't drafted a quarterback in the first round in the last 25, 30 years. I can't remember what the actual stat was, but it was crazy.
Yeah, they had... that's exciting because also there's about 5 teams ahead of us, Joe, that also need quarterbacks. The 2 New York teams, the Saints, as you mentioned, Tennessee, Cleveland. So it's going to be interesting to see how tonight falls. And as I said again, Joe, you got to hit a home run tonight because you don't have a round 2 pick. Yes, we're always going to be able to look back and say that's DK's. But you know what? At the end of the day, we don't pick again until the 3rd pick of the draft. You got to hit one tonight.
Do you think the Steelers will trade away anyone on draft day, whether it be tonight, tomorrow?
I think that kind of fell into, I mean, it's possible, absolutely possible. I again started to see that coming within the same period of time when you started hearing all the negative stuff about Shedeur. Again, the news gets crazy right before the draft actually happens. They can draft back. I don't think they're going to, but that's just my opinion.
All right. Every year on this time, some people do this. I don't know why. Watch the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner.
You know what? No, I'm not one of them guys, but I know people that do.
Do you ever see the movie?
It
was terrible.
Really?
I mean, he traded away like 3 first-round picks and somehow traded them back for second-round pick. It didn't make any sense. The core of the movie was okay. But the concept, it would never work with an NFL GM. He would have been fired that day.
Right.
He would have been killed, I think, that day.
What, Joe, I mean, I know we're getting ready to go off air. Who do you like? Who would you like to see go tonight in the...
They're not going to... I would like to see him trade back, maybe. I don't know. I like the... If they're going to take a quarterback, it's got to be Jackson Dart. If not, they're not going to be able to get that D tackle from Michigan. There's another D tackle. I can't remember his name.
Yes.
I don't know if he plays the same technique that the Steelers play, though. I didn't look into it that deep. But I don't know. I'd like to see them take a skill position player. They never do.
We need. We need.
They'll
So
probably take a defensive player.
I personally
Again.
like Jackson Dart myself. That's my pick.
I don't think though. He might be a day one pick. He might not.
He
be.
might. Yes, right.
We'll see. If he's in the second round, you got to grab him. Why not?
Absolutely.
All right, that's it for today's show. We'll be back Monday, same time, 5 to 6 p.m. Until then, I'm Joe Corsai signing off from Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening.